Hello everyone and welcome back to the Beatles Forever, the Beatles on this date. So let's see what's going on with the Beatles around the date of August 21st. Well, for once we have some really new news of the Beatles that just came out on this date of the 21st, 2025. So the Beatles announced the anthology reissues and a new Anthology 4 collection. This was dated Thursday, 21st of August, 2025. The Beatles have announced reissues of the 3 anthology albums from the 1990s, along with a new Anthology 4 collection. Anthology 4 contains 13 previously unreleased recordings, versions of Tell Me Why, If I Fell, Matchbox, Every Little Thing, I Need You, I've Just Seen a Face, In My Life, Nowhere Man, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love, The Fool on the Hill, I Am the Walrus, and Hey Bulldog. There were also remixes of the 1990s reunion songs, Free as a Bird and Real Love. The 8-part anthology TV series has been restored and expanded with a new 9th episode and will stream on Disney Plus from November 26, 2025. The new episode will contain previously unseen behind-the-scenes footage of Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr coming together in 1994 and 1995 to work on anthology and reflecting on their shared life as the Beatles. Anthology 4 and Anthology Collection will be released on the 21st of November 2025, precisely 30 years after Anthology 1 was released. So I can't believe it's been that long ago. And Anthology 2 was released on March the 18th, 1996, with Anthology 3 on the 28th. Full press release, the Beatles Anthology, award-winning documentary series, music releases, and iconic book, all together now for the release this autumn. The Beatles by the Beatles, on screen, on record, and in print. Highlights and key release dates: The Beatles Free as a Bird, 2025 mix, remix single and restored music video, The Beatles Anthology book, the 25th anniversary edition, out on October the 14th. The Beatles Anthology music collections, restored and expanded to 4 volumes, a 12 LP vinyl, 8 CD and digital collections, out on November 21st. The Beatles Anthology documentary series, now a 9-part series, featuring a brand new episode, 9 streaming exclusively on Disney Plus, beginning November 26th. London, August 21st, 2025. First released 3 decades ago, the Beatles' 8-part anthology series reinvented the music documentary. Instead of a standard treatment centered on an outside narrator and talking heads, the anthology featured John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr candidly telling their own story, with all its complexities and contradictions. It introduced the Beatles to a new generation of viewers and listeners, and marked the start of a creative and commercial afterlife that continues to this day. Now the Beatles Anthology returns in its ultimate form for a comprehensive global release campaign on screen, on record, and in print. The Beatles Anthology documentary series, now a 9-part series featuring a brand new episode, 9 streaming exclusively on Disney Plus beginning November 26th. Pre-save the Beatles Anthology digital audio collection and pre-order the 12 LP vinyl and 8 CD box sets here. So the Beatles Anthology book, 25th anniversary softcover edition, out October the 14th. Finally, the 25th anniversary of the Beatles Anthology book will be released on October 14th by Apple Corps Limited and Chronicle Books. Throughout its pages, John, Paul, and George and Ringo share their revelatory collections of the band's journey. Their memories are accompanied by impressions from their closest colleagues, including Neil Aspinall, George Martin, Derek Taylor, and others. The best-selling 368-page book is beautifully illustrated with more than 1,300 photos, documents, artwork, and other memorabilia from the band's archives. The second story comes from the Beatles Bible, album release, Liverpool Sound collage by Paul McCartney. This is dated Monday, the 21st of August, 2000. Liverpool Sound collage, an experimental album led by Paul McCartney, was released on August 21st, 2000. The album was credited to McCartney, the Beatles, Super Furry Animals, and Youth. Because McCartney was so heavily involved in its creation, Liverpool Sound Collage is generally considered a part of his main discography. In 2001, Liverpool Sound Collage was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Alternative Music Album. It lost out to Radiohead's Kid A. The third story comes from the Beatles Bible. George and Patty Harrison returned to England from Greece. This is dated Wednesday, August 21st, 1968. George Harrison and his wife Patty and the Beatles' assistant Mal Evans had flown to Greece on August 17, 1968 for a brief holiday. On this day, they returned to London. In Harrison's absence, the rest of the Beatles continued recording the White Album, working on Your Blues, Mother Nature's Son, Wild Honey Pie, and etc. The fourth story is from the Beatles Bible, added team mixing with the Beatles, Wednesday, the 21st of August, 1963. In Studio 3, EMI Studios, Abbey Road. Producer George Martin, engineer Norman Smith. The Beatles' previous session for their second album with the Beatles had taken place on July 30th, 1963. 3 weeks later, George Martin began overseeing the editing and mixing of songs completed so far. There were 2 sessions on this day, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Work began with an edit of takes 6 and 7 of Money, That's What I Want, followed by one of You Really Got a Hold on Me from takes 7, 10, and 11. 2 more edits followed, Roll Over Beethoven, takes 7 and 8, and It Won't Be Long, takes 17 and 21. These completed mono mixes were made of Devil in Her Heart, Money, You Really Got a Hold on Me, Please Mr. Postman, Till There Was You, Roll Over Beethoven, All My Loving, and It Won't Be Long. The Beatles were not present on this date. They were in the middle of a 6th night at Bournemouth's Gaumont Cinema. And the last story comes from On This Day, so it's just brief clips of certain dates in the history of the Beatles on this date. In 1966, in Cincinnati, Ohio, Lou Rawls opened for the Beatles. In 1982, on August 21st, Paul McCartney's single Take It Away hit number 15 in the UK. And in 1982, on this date of August 21st, Paul McCartney's single Take It Away hit number 10 in the US. In 1998, in London, Ringo Starr performed solo at Shepherd's Bush Empire. So I will end the video here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so, it would help the channel to grow, as well as giving it a thumbs up. It's all a great help. And if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, if you could do that, it lets you know when a video is posted. More importantly, I want to wish everyone a good day, and tune in again soon for another episode of The Beatles Forever, The Beatles on This Date. Thank you. Bye.